Hey listeners, we have some special music again in this episode. The music you'll hear in the last battle was generously provided to us by the extremely talented Objectivist guitarist. You can hear more of his exceptional work at youtube.com/objectivistguitarist. I also wanted to mention that one of the perks we offer for our patrons on Patreon is host-generated content voted on by our patrons, and the content for September was a song written and performed by our very own Liz Logan, going into deep and hilarious detail about Dante's disdain for clothing. Seriously, she plays guitar and bass and drums and sings and everything. It's pretty great. So, if you're interested in that or any of the other host-generated bonus content we've done over the last few months, please consider becoming a patron at any level. Thanks. Welcome to Extraordinary League, an actual play RPG podcast brought to you by Smash Fiction. I'm Dan Mulkerin, your game master. Playing Stitch is Kit Mulkerin.
Huh? Oh, Stitch quote. Insert here.
Oh, boo.
I literally forgot. For the first time ever.
Playing Dante is Liz Logan.
So, guys, I just discovered these things called Hot Pockets.
Oh no, your life has changed forever.
Playing Sterling Archer is Miles Schneiderman.
Luna.
Yeah, Archer? Archer what?
Danger Zone?
Playing Little Lovegood is Megan Bob.
Dear Quibbler readers, I'm sorry to say that Nexus City is about to be attacked by Phyrexia, and I probably can't make friends with all the Phyrexians in time to stop it. I'm not sure what to expect for the Postal Service while that's going on, so here's what I think will happen in case I don't have a chance to send a message for a while. Team Ohana keeps everyone in Nexus City safe, we defeat Phyrexia, after that we throw a big party with all the guacamole and Lunchables in the entire city. Mordin tells me what species he is, and then Venusaur and I go to the zoo. Oh, and I forgot to tell you all. Cambots joined our team. We know family when we see it, and Ohana means family. Although Archer says it means ride or die, but the last time he said it out loud, Stitch rubbed him in the face. So he doesn't say that now. Well, he doesn't say it much now. Wish us luck. Love, Luna.
I mean, look, I didn't invent the immortal words of Herman Melville, alright? I just quote them.
Herman Melville said ride or die.
Yes. That is my
That's
implication.
what that whole book is about.
Is that not Moby Dick summed up in, 3 words? 3 words. It was 3.
If I had to pick 3, I might pick whale and die.
Playing Mordin Solus is Claire Mulkera.
This plane will be gone tomorrow. Phyrexia's invading, and tomorrow they'll be done. Just thinking about tomorrow makes me wanna quit this stupid league thing and just run. When I look at this team, I scream, we're so screwed. I gotta slap myself in the face and replace my pants. Oh, we're all gonna die tomorrow. We just gotta fight until tomorrow. Come what may. Tomorrow, we're so fucked tomorrow. So should we just run away?
Oh, very
You know,
good.
That was awesome.
Y'all listening to this probably think she, puts a lot of time and effort into this shit. But seriously, she walked into my house to record and was like, hey, can I have a piece of paper? And just wrote it the fuck down.
Previously, you defeated Shang Tsung and broadcasted the truth of the Nexus Tournament across Nexus City before tracking down the tournament trophy and beating Team Soul Edge for it. Now the trophy is yours, and more importantly, so is the red gem in it necessary for defeating Phyrexia. But speaking of Phyrexia, it looks like the parasitic plane has set its gaze on Nexus City itself. We see a long Nexus City street running between rows of skyscrapers. Cars roll by on the road while pedestrians clog the sidewalks. One by one, the pedestrians begin to slow, looking around in confusion. Is that the sound of machinery? But where's it coming from? Just then, several large, greasy spots appear in the air around them, vomiting forth scores of skeletal, horrifying Phyrexian shock troops. Those civilians who spot the invaders scream and turn to run, not knowing that it's already too late for them. We see an aerial shot of a Nexus City park, a small remainder of nature carefully tended to in the midst of the impossibly immense metropolis around it. More greasy portals open in the air above the park, and small creatures pour out in buzzing swarms, with bodies like bat-winged scorpions. The dark cloud of Phyrexian creatures begins their descent toward the park below. We see a busy Nexus City intersection, where two major roads cross between photogenic tourist hotspots. A tremendous portal suddenly expands in the middle of the intersection, depositing a towering Phyrexian weapon of war, looking like a combination between a tank and a threshing machine. Cars suddenly brake and swerve in an effort to avoid the new arrival, as the blades on the front of the war machine begin to spin, and the vehicle rumbles forward. And finally, we see the Balboa Memorial Arena. The parking lot is currently empty, with the notable exception of a large pirate ship with hover engines on the sides. The interior of the arena is intended to seat over 20,000 people, but at the moment, it feels almost empty with just a few hundred. These few, however, are the past combatants in the Nexus Tournament, exhausted from their recent abuse at the hands of Shang Tsung, but united in their resolve to stand in defense of Nexus City against the Phyrexian invasion. The 5 of you, plus Lace, have been joined by Sombra, as well as another Extraordinary League cell, which was able to travel to Nexus City to deliver the message about the invasion and provide what help they can. This is the team which helped to rescue Luna from Phyrexia: Beatrix Kiddo, Samus Aran, Raceland Majer, Luca, and Toothless. Also here is Doc Brown himself, who has pulled himself away from his lab in order to see what he can do to help. At the moment, you and the other Leaguers are in a backstage area poring over a complex series of maps of Nexus City. Samus Aran sighs as she makes some slight adjustments to the figures and markers on the map. I think that's about the best deployment our forces we can manage at this point. We have a lot of fighters on our side, but this plane is just too damn big. We'd have to spread ourselves way too thin to cover more than one city. At this point, the best we can hope for is to delay Phyrexia's takeover, and even that could cost us dearly. It also doesn't help that the Phyrexians have deployed swarms of plague stingers. All it takes is a sting from one of those little bastards, and you're infected. Watch out for them. That's how they turn huge populations at once.
I'm just gonna say, there's this brief moment where Stitch and Toothless meet each other across the room. Their eyes meet, and they feel like connected somehow.
Somehow, yes.
Somehow. But then they both kind of shake their heads and like go back to thinking
Definitely
about
new
her.
cousin.
Yeah.
Are we organizing some sort of evacuation to Eternia? Do we have the ability to do that?
Mordin, you bring this up, and Luca looks at you with this, like, regretful look on her face, and she says, it wouldn't really work. I mean, at least not well. Even when we overcharge the DDCs, they can't take more than a dozen people at once, and that's a lot of round trips with overcharged DDCs, which means they're gonna need constant maintenance, otherwise they'll break down. So at best, I mean, we might be able to save 100 people, maybe a few hundred, but that still leaves billions of people lost to Phyrexia.
Doc Brown, it may be too late, but this plane is, in fact, a lot of smaller planes that have been joined together. Would it be possible in any way to separate them? If we could confine the Phyrexians to one of the smaller cities, or maybe get all of the people here into one of the mini planes of Nexus City that has not been hit by the Phyrexians yet, and then detach that plane from the rest.
Doc Brown runs his fingers through his wild shock of white hair and says, well, I suppose it's theoretically possible. Phyrexia invades by simply moving itself directly onto another plane, so if we were able to somehow move the planes, or, as you say, break this Gestalt plane apart, it might mean that they would be able to escape to safety, but the issue is that we would need some way of affecting this plane on that sort of scale, and I'm not entirely sure how such a feat would be possible.
Mordin?
Yeah.
Do you still have... Did we figure out how the mind control worked?
I was able to recover some of the devices, but I haven't had a lot of time to study them. Why?
Do you think we could mind control the Phyrexians?
That sounds like a big ask.
Luca looks up at this point. Hang on, Dr. Solis, that network you discovered beneath the city, you said it runs beneath the whole city? Like between all the planes?
Yes.
At this point, like, Doc Brown's head snaps up, and he says, that may actually be what we would need. If that network stretches between and beneath every section of the city, then that network may actually be stabilizing the city in some way, acting like a web or a net. If we were able to send a surge of power through the network and create some controlled detonations along it, that might be able to provide the force we need to break up Nexus City and send it into the multiverse and away from Phyrexia.
Mordin's gonna then look at the diagram of the city and figure out which one of the different Gestalt demi-planes has been hit by Phyrexia the least at this point, if there's one that's relatively untouched.
You're starting to look over this, and Luca, Doc Brown, and Sombra, like the four of you are basically the tech geniuses, begin to sort of like calculate when and where and how you would have to set off these explosions in order to essentially launch the plane away from Phyrexia and potentially like break it up into its component planes as a way of sort of flinging all of them to safety. Because like right now Nexus City is one giant juicy reward for Phyrexia, you know, like acquiring dozens of planes at once. So potentially like breaking it up into smaller planes would be a way of saving more people at once. It is a particularly brute force type of method and would probably result in no small amount of collateral damage, but like given the seriousness of the situation and the lack of both time and resources available, it might be the only option that you guys have.
Nexus City is like the giant stuffed animal of the carnival game that is the universe.
That's exactly right.
They want that. They want that big old fluffy thing. They don't need it, but they want it.
Perfect analogy.
Yep. Exactly. So basically, by the time the four of you are done, Sombra, Luca, and Doc Brown are already beginning to head toward the basement where the whole like network controls are set up. And basically they're going to start performing the calculations that they need to figure out how to reroute the power systems and turn off the safeties and figure out exactly how much power they need to channel where in order to like get the plane away from Phyrexia. So they're going to be doing those calculations for a bit. So what they're going to need is someone to guard the arena from Phyrexia in the meantime. I will point out that does not necessarily have to be you guys. You do have hundreds of warriors at your beck and call, so you can stay and help protect them if you want, but you can also like make a beeline for the nearest extraction point if you just want to get this gem off of Nexus City. It's kind of your call.
It's been decided.
I am the
Just
captain
Dante.
now.
Just Dante.
Just Dante is defending this place.
I mean, I don't know. I thought maybe I could be like useful in that situation, but maybe also maybe I can be useful in a lot of different ways because I'm a secret agent.
Can you go on a Lunchables run, please? Maybe Hot Pockets now? I'm not sure. Get both.
We can't use the gem without the other gem.
Well, so no one knows A, what the gems are supposed to do, or B, how they even work, or C, how to activate them.
And we need all of them first, right?
I mean, that's kind of the conclusion that the magic users in the league have come to, but even they've been researching that green gem you brought them weeks ago, and they still haven't figured out what this thing is supposed to do, so...
Where's your magic now?
I mean, Nico is back at Castle Grayskull still.
Oh, that's fair. That's where she is, okay.
Luna has to try this. I just have to like lean down to it and go like, can you help?
You see your reflection in the red gem. That's about it.
Is it worth trying to mind read a gem? I just really want it to be on the team.
You know what you really should do is like carve the gem so that one side of it is super sharp and then just like shove it into your forehead. That sounds like a really great idea.
Okay, all right. Stitch is gonna walk over to the gem.
Okay, so you're standing in front of the Nexus Tournament trophy with Luna squatting down looking into it.
It's still inside the trophy?
Yeah, you guys haven't removed it yet.
Can he pry it out of the trophy?
Stitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can pry it out.
Okay. Is it easily? Do I have to make a roll for it?
You don't have to roll for it. It's not easy, but like you have superhuman strength,
Yeah.
so you just pry that sucker right out.
It's like a brontosaurus.
Yes. You just pick up the nearest dinosaur and throw it at the trophy,
Amen.
and it pops right out.
Stitch pulls it out.
Yeah.
And then he eats it.
Okay, Stitch eats the gem.
Safe now.
So yeah, I'm going to be going with Dante to help defend against the Phyrexians.
I think Mordin's going to be sciencing the science.
So, Mordin, you're going to be heading down to assist the other tech users?
Yes.
So, at this point, it's sounding like everyone wants to stay behind in Nexus City and sort of contribute to the defense of the city and the arena in whatever way they can.
I have to save that zoo.
Stitch?
Stitch's habit is to stay where the action is.
So, as you guys are all sort of making your plans and beginning to head out, Beatrix walks up to all of you and says, "We have a lot of warriors out there eager to fight for their city. Are you planning on saying anything to them?" And in the background, we see Sombra struggling and failing to keep an impish smile off of her face as she remembers Dante and Archer's disastrous impending catastrophe broadcast.
I will talk to them.
I step up. Archer, you can take the lead on this one. I'll back you up, though, buddy.
Okay, that sounds good.
How can I distract?
I will roll against you, Bob. Don't
Like,
even.
y'all are welcome to try and stop me. I will not oppose you.
Oh God. Dante, do you want to tell me about every kind of Lunchable you've ever eaten?
Well, my favorite is really pepperoni. I like the deep dish one. And, I put it in the toaster first.
Fascinating!
And it gets a little
this is all,
toasty.
like, sort of fading into the background as the camera pans to see Archer walking onto the stage.
All right, everyone. You all know why you're here.
The assembled warriors quiet down and look up at you with sort of expectant reverence.
I mean, I'm assuming you all know why you're here, right? You heard we sent out the radio broadcast. I thought it was very clear and, frankly, an excellent job by myself, Sterling Archer, to get the information out precisely. Anyway, so you all know why you're here, and I'd like to thank you all for coming out today. It's a beautiful day here for a fight against the Phyrexian army.
Archer, as you're saying this, Cambot is sort of like making dramatic sweeps around you, and your face is being projected up on the big screens behind the stage.
All right, so I'm assuming that everybody here has come out on this beautiful day to defend this fine city. Am I right, people? That's what I was looking for. Very good. Now, I don't know if you ever fought a Phyrexian before, but the primary tactical information you need to know is that they're douchebags. They are spineless assholes, and they really, just show no mercy, show no pity. Be like Burt Reynolds, is what I'm saying.
Except for those ones that are like just a spine, those ones are not spineless.
Look, Mordin, I don't have that deck yet. I've already told you. We'll do a draft later. So, everybody, you'll know them when you see them because they just look like the douchebags that they are. And I expect every one of you to raise your guns and claws and what are those, nunchaku? I think maybe. Okay, those sais are kind of a defensive weapon, but if you really want to use those, you know what? Never mind. Doesn't matter. I'm sure you're very good with them. Whatever weapons you brought with you will be fine. But just be advised that this enemy is brutal and cruel and relentless and just full of douchebaggery. So spare none of them. Take no quarter and take no nickels or dimes either.
Oh, terrible.
You just hear in the background someone say, "Boo."
No, Luna's gonna give a standing ovation because she's proud that Archer didn't mess it up too much.
A one-man standing ovation.
You think this was
All right,
better than what I could have done? Jesus Christ.
So-
All right, people.
This is honestly something I just kind of heard on TV a couple of years ago, but I think it applies here. Which is that this is your city, and that's your gate. This is our gate. Whatever. Those are your walls. I don't know if there are walls either. This is your city, and they're gonna come knock it down. And I would say those are brave men knocking at our doors, but they're not really men, and they kind of lost the emotional capacity to be brave. But let's go kill them anyway.
Yeah!
Yeah!
Cut to Mordin doing science in the lab, and there's like a little TV in the lab that's playing the broadcast, and he says, "Can we put that on mute? I'm trying to concentrate."
So, all of you march out along with the hundreds of Nexus Tournament warriors, and now that you step out of the arena and into the city, you are beginning to see the signs of destruction all around you. There's destroyed and smoking vehicles. buildings that have been damaged or partially dismantled, and the signs of the passage of immense Phyrexian vehicles. One thing that you're not seeing are the bodies of Nexus City citizens, because the Phyrexians waste nothing in their conquest. The Phyrexians are coming in great numbers now. They are streaming in dark rivers from the streets all around the Balboa Memorial Arena and are descending down from the kaleidoscopic sky above. But they are being met on all sides by the warriors of the Nexus Tournament, who fight back with the martial and mystical techniques of dozens of worlds. There's a montage where we see Aerostar leaps from the back of one of the Biker Mice's motorcycles and delivers a flying, backflipping body slam into an armored Phyrexian. Jim Dark Magic, Taco, and Raceland Majer stand side by side and let loose a devastating trio of fireballs into a crowd of invaders. Butterfree flies above and dusts several Phyrexians with sleep powder, leaving them sitting ducks for Mordekaiser to run in and begin to bash them away with his gigantic spiked mace. So everyone involved in the battle, go ahead and narrate something cool that you are doing. And I will say, there is one very large and prominent Phyrexian war machine that's being marched in here. It's a large, bulbous central body with a mask mounted on the front that looks like a humanoid face with its mouth open in this horrifically distended scream, and it has these very long and spindly arms and legs coming off of it that end in very long and wicked claws. If you would like a visual reference, this is a Pierce Strider. There are also a number of ground troops. Most of them sort of look like porcelain-colored suits of armor held together by a metallic webwork with like a big faceless mask in the front. These are porcelain legionnaires. So, those of you participating in the battle, you may narrate something that you do, and then I will have you roll to determine how effective it is in fighting back the Phyrexians.
Archer is gathering any of the combatants who are particularly good with firearms. Is there like a kind of vaguely central location that's slightly above the rest of the battle?
Yeah, I mean, you could get on top of the arena itself. You know, you could, like, climb to the roof of the building.
Okay. Well, we will... And is there any cover afforded on the roof of the arena?
Not so much, but you could always, like, lie on your stomach.
That's true. Alright, so we'll form a little sniper's nest up there.
Yeah, I'll say it's you and all the James Bonds.
Yeah!
That actually, I kind of love that image.
Yep.
Alright, James, over there. James here. James, over here.
No, but you just told me I was supposed to go over there.
No, James. I told James.
Where am I supposed to go?
James. Oh my god.
Oh god. Oh my god, I'm so happy. Oh my god.
Alright, look.
Do a Timothy Dalton.
Creepy but kind of sexy old man James over there.
Oh, that's so good.
Like vaguely gritty, more modern looking James over there. Super British, like, you know, facial hair, looks like he should be evil James over here. And then you over here, other James, who's not them over here.
I'm gonna say Roger Moore almost falls off the roof accidentally. So, Archer, I will let you decide if you want this to be a sniping check on your behalf, or, like, a commanding check, where you're, like, trying to direct all the James Bonds.
What would the relevant stat be on that command?
That would be Psyche.
Do they get a bonus because Timothy Dalton's bringing them all lemonade, and it's putting them in a better state of mind?
Sure, you get a
that's
+1 column shift for Timothy Dalton's lemonade.
I think he's helping out the team.
I think I'll go with my sniper shot.
Okay,
and let
that
them
sounds
handle
good.
themselves.
Alright, so I'm going to need you to roll that and hang on to the result. I'm going to ask for everyone's results at the end of this little montage.
Oh yeah, I've always wanted to do this. I take off my coat, rip off my shirt, rip off my pants.
You've done this many times, I'd like to point out.
I'm in my underwear. I take my red coat and I tie the sleeves around my neck. And then there's just a garbage lid next to me. And I pick up the garbage lid and I pull out my sword and I go, Spartans! And then 299 Spartans appear out of nowhere because they are on a team.
Okay, let's walk this back a second.
Nope, this is happening. They can, you know what? There can be like 5 of them, and then like they bring out like cardboard cutouts. so we look bigger than we are.
I'll say that one of the teams was led by Leonidas, so you have like 6 Spartans running with you.
Okay, great. And cardboard cutouts. That'll work.
You were going to build cardboard cutouts, you made like 1.5 and then gave up.
It's like literally just like a 6-foot box that I cut out and put a happy face on.
And just like drew some abs on.
Captain, control all your men. We look at the porcelain knights and all of a sudden it's a slow-mo montage of us like killing them, and then one porcelain knight is in front of me and I go, "This is Sparta!" Boo!
Oh man.
Oh god.
At first I thought that was a dumb joke, and then I got it, and it was great.
It's a great joke.
So Dante, I'm going to need you to make a fighting check with a bonus for your close combat swords. And I'm going to give you an additional +1 bonus for well-timed punny quip.
How tall are Pierce Striders?
I'm going to say they're about 40 feet tall.
Perfect. Well, only perfect if the following is also okay. Can Toothless be with us?
Yeah.
Okay. So Stitch, with a little help from Toothless, Lace put in a good word.
Mm-hmm.
They were playing like little puppy dogs off to the side while the adults were talking. Stitch, on the back of Toothless, flies into combat, unleashes some of his webbing, and is basically pulling a little bit of that old AT-AT scene on Hoth.
Yes.
And is just like flying around the legs of these Peace Striders and trying to knock them all down.
Very good. So I'm going to need you to roll webbing.
All right, Karma.
All right. Luna.
Are there some of the Pierce Striders still standing?
Well, Stitch at the moment is attempting to take one down. You can attempt to double up or assist or whatever it is that you would like to do.
Well, to Luna, I think they probably do not seem scientific. The assumption is always going to be magical. And so I was thinking target statue or suit of armor. So if I could put it under my control and then use it to wreak havoc.
Oh, that is very interesting. Yeah, I'll say that there's 2 Pierce Striders. So that way your guys' victories aren't parasitic on each other. Yeah, go ahead and make your psyche check for that.
And I will be using lots of karma for this because I'm going to protect things with bigger things.
So from a pure story standpoint, I think that Mordin would just stay focused on the lab stuff. Can I get a bonus by pouring stuff from one test tube into another test tube?
Yeah. So I'll say that what you're doing is you're just focusing. You're trying to work with Sombra, Luca, and Doc Brown. So I'm going to have you make a reason check.
Sure.
With a bonus for, I think technology is probably what applies in this case.
Okay.
So how did everyone's checks go? Let's go with Archer and his shooting gallery of James Bonds.
I got a red, motherfucker.
Very good. How about Dante and the Spartas?
Yellow.
Okay. Stitch and the Battle of Hoth.
Yellow.
And Luna being a master puppeteer.
I got a yellow, but I'm going to take it to a red.
Okay. And Mordin pouring things from one test tube into another.
I'll spend 11 karma and make it yellow.
Okay. The Pierce Strider takes a sudden volley from sniper rifles, which cuts through its armored shell, and it begins to wobble on its long, spindly legs, which makes it the perfect target for Stitch and Toothless to quickly circle it, black webbing trailing behind them, as they pull its legs together and send it toppling over, where it cracks open and crushes dozens of Porcelain Legionnaires. Meanwhile, from the other side, Dante, leading a small army of shirtless, muscled men, begins to slice their way through.
God, it's so appropriate. I didn't even realize it. So many
Just
layers.
an average day.
Throwing legionnaires one direction and the other. And those legionnaires that are spared from this sort of double-edged onslaught are quickly beginning to get picked off by the other Pierce Strider that has come into battle, who is beginning to carve them up under the control of Luna and her wand. And down in the Balboa Memorial Arena lab, Mordin and the other scientists have finished their calculations, and it is now simply a matter of programming in the necessary sequence that will trigger this cascading sequence that will then launch Nexus City safely away from Phyrexia. However, as Mordin and the science types are beginning to perform these calculations, Mordin, you suddenly become aware of a creature which has entered the lab. This is clearly a Phyrexian. It's maybe half as large as a human. It creeps along like a lizard, but on insecta legs. It has a bronze-colored carapace and a large fixture reminiscent of an eye facing forward where its head would be. Sombra draws her pistol, but before she can raise it, a blue light begins to shine from the center of its giant eye. A holographic blue figure appears in front of this Phyrexian creature. It's a bald man wearing an exquisitely tailored suit with his hands clasped calmly behind his back. Hello, Sombra. Sombra, you recognize this as Lex Luthor.
Hey, pendejo.
The corner of his mouth picks up ever so slightly, and he glances around and says, "Oh, I see the other friends of yours that I met last time aren't with you. You seem to have more contacts than I had anticipated."
So, did you just come here to chat?
Well, I'm not really here exactly. I couldn't appear in person. I've been tasked with some of the larger scale planning of this particular invasion, but I wanted to check in with you. You are, after all, one of the insects who decided that they were capable of standing against me and Phyrexia. Surely, you must know by now that any small, momentary victories you gain against us are essentially and unavoidably limited. You can't defeat us. All will be won.
Mordin's gonna say, then why are you talking to us? What do you have to gain here?
He turns, lifts an eyebrow, and says, I have been completed, as will all of you, I'm certain, at some point or another. But I must admit, I was curious as to what exactly it is that you're all doing here. You've been putting up such an effort to protect this place from our invaders. Surely there's a more strategic post you could have picked for your final stand.
I think that Mordin knows that this guy's, probably too smart to give away information. I kind of just want to shoot this stupid drone.
Do it.
You can if you would like.
Yeah, I think Mordin's just gonna grab a gun and just shoot the drone and say, when you see me in here working, and then shoot the drone and says, it means I'm trying to work.
Mordin, make a shooting check. I want to see how well you shoot it, and if Lex can get one final line off before the drone is destroyed.
Oh, nope, got a white.
Okay, the Phyrexian, which is called an Oculus, isn't actively trying to avoid it, so you definitely shoot it, but not in an immediately critical place, so the Luthor hologram is beginning to flicker out, but he does get one last moment to speak. Well, I suppose that's my cue to go, then. That's fine, I have an invasion to oversee. Oh, but I did want to introduce you to one of my friends, another one of the Phyrexian Praetors. I believe he should be teleporting in right about now. My suggestion would be that you run and abandon this plane to its fate, or don't. I certainly wouldn't object to watching you struggle and die against inevitability. And with that, the Oculus flickers out and dies from the gunshot wounds, and the hologram of Luthor disappears.
Mordin's gonna look around the room. Who's the fastest person we have in the room right now? Would it be Sombra?
Probably. I mean, who else is here?
Yeah, probably either you or Sombra, to be honest. Luca and Doc Brown aren't super fast.
Mordin's gonna shoot a portal at a wall and then throw the portal gun to Sombra and say, get reinforcements.
Sombra's gonna catch it. Can she do, some sweet little hack to it real quick?
What is she gonna do?
How can we enhance this gun temporarily?
By hacking.
Yes, but more specifically, asking Dan, can we make it so that the portal's attached to much more, a much bigger variety of things, temporarily?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. It's because it's specific things it can do. It would be super dope if you could just put a portal in
in anything.
Space.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So you're expanding the range?
I'm expanding the possibilities, man.
Well, because the way it works is that the portal has to cling to a conductive substance. So I'm imagining Sombra is making it so that it can, be attached to rocks or paper or
photons.
Maybe even just put one up in midair, not attached to anything, something like that.
I'm gonna use Sombra's karma.
All
She's
right.
got enough of it. I don't know how much I need to... Do you know how much I need to get it dope?
Yellow.
To get it dope. What's the dope color?
Yeah.
What's funny about that is I don't think anyone would ever say that and then get the answer back of yellow, but sure.
Minimum dopeness, please.
Yes.
I will get that to you. I'll calculate the number of karma that takes for me in a second. Okay, so yeah. Sombra's gonna do some quick beep booping. The portal gun gets a little pink temporarily with a little skull over it. And then she throws it back at him and says, Now you're better at playing the hero. You go help your friends, and I'll, do all the hard work down here.
I say, you better not put any bugs in this software. I know you can be sloppy sometimes.
Jeez.
She's gonna hack your Omni tool.
You can try. Mordin's gonna leave.
You can't make Incinerate work any worse.
Karma. I'll tell you later what happens to your Omni tool next time you use it.
As Mordin steps through the portal and leaves the lab, Doc Brown turns to Sombra and says, I don't know why he keeps trying to rebuff our attempts at friendship.
I'm pretty sure he got it from Dante.
At this point, up on the surface where you guys have just managed to rout the latest wave of Phyrexians, there's the distant sound of rhythmic thunderclaps. For those of you who were in Jurassic Park, you're reminded of being close to the T-Rex when it was walking, but this is on a much, much larger scale. And then, rising above the skyline of Nexus City, is the many stories tall form of the green Phyrexian Praetor, who lets loose a roar that can be heard from every corner of the city.
Oh, man. Oh, jeez.
Shit.
Well, bye.
Yeah, so there is a gigantic spined dinosaur which has appeared in Nexus City and is beginning to stomp its way in the direction of the arena.
Hopefully, please, I'm just holding out hope that it's going to turn out to be Reptar.
So Mordin, you know that the network has basically been rigged to blow at this point, but it's going to need several minutes to fully charge. Now, some of the other League members are going to start warping out any of the Nexus Tournament warriors that are wanting to, join the League, but obviously, if Godzilla reaches the arena before the network detonates, then your whole plan is out the window. So someone is going to have to hold off Godzilla in the meantime.
Stitch is already gone.
I'll do it.
I was gonna say I would do it too.
At this point...
What the fuck is Archer gonna do to Godzilla?
So basically, all of you have sort of lined up, preparing to face off against Godzilla. And at this point, the 5 colorfully dressed teenagers known as the Power Rangers approach you.
Oh no! Not again! Oh no! Not like this!
We know how this ends, guys.
Space! It ends in space.
It does end in space.
So all 5 of them are in civilian form and are still visibly weakened and look exhausted. And the Yellow Ranger Trini steps forward and says, Team Ohana, our fight against the Soul Edge has left us too weak to use our powers. We still need some time to recover.
Oh no, I know what's gonna happen. Oh no.
But someone has to stop that thing before it does any more damage. And as one, the Power Rangers all hold out their morphers to you.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
Flashbacks.
Son of a bitch.
Flashbacks.
So does Stitch take the blue one?
You guys can take whatever morphers you wish.
I feel like Stitch needs the blue one.
Red.
Dante takes red, that's fair, I suppose.
Obviously,
Yeah, that
Dante
makes
takes
sense. Archer will take black, like my turtleneck.
Yeah.
Yellow.
For tactical purposes, clearly the superior one is the one that can fly, so
Sure.
Mordin's going to take the pterodactyl for the sake of keeping an eye on the battlefield and coordinating tactics.
Hear that, Dante? Mordin's a girl.
Mordana, please.
Sorry.
Stop.
Yep, Mordana the Pink Ranger.
So, you guys have the morphers. What do you do?
I turned to them, what do we do?
I mean, I guess looking at the situation tactically, I would have to say that it's morphin time. So, Mastodon.
Pterodactyl.
Yeah, blue bull?
Saber-toothed tiger.
What the fuck is the red one?
It's one of the best dinosaurs ever, you pleb!
It's Tyrannosaurus.
Oh. Little arms.
So all of you are encased in light and moments later are wearing the Power Ranger uniforms.
Dan, I'm so happy right now. I'm so happy right now. You have no idea.
Zach, the Black Power Ranger, says, all right, now you have to call for your Zords. That's the only way you'll be able to fight this guy.
I don't know about that.
I mean, yeah, I think that I should definitely call for my what was it again? A Zord.
I agree. I think we really need Dinozord power now.
And with that, there is suddenly sounds coming from all directions around you as a gigantic mechanical mastodon, triceratops, saber-toothed tiger, and tyrannosaurus come running out from the streets of the city, and coming down from the sky is a robotic pterodactyl. So all of you suddenly just launch yourselves into the air, 20 stories up, and land directly in the cockpits of these giant vehicles. And you just find that, like, you're instantly able to know exactly what you need to do in order to pilot these things.
Oh my god, you guys, that's the coolest thing.
Nice stereo.
So, you guys can fight as your individual dinosaurs if you wish, but there is an option for all of you to combine together into the Megazord.
Naturally.
Guys, we could be the best friends.
So, you...
I cannot see us syncing up properly. I know that this isn't Pacific Rim, but I still feel like
don't think we can
just
drift?
all the limbs would just be going in a totally separate direction. No unity whatsoever.
Yeah, do you guys, do you want to start by fighting off as your individual dinosaurs, or do you want to jump straight
I feel
into
like we
Megazord?
should do at least one round separate just for funsies, and then,
Yeah,
like,
probably.
yeah.
It just, yeah.
Well, then let's roll initiative.
Okay, so 4.
I got 9.
So I got a 7.
I got a 7 as well.
And Stitch?
6.
Luna, you are up first in the saber-toothed tiger.
I'm just gonna bite something.
Okay, great.
Hopefully Godzilla?
How many limbs does... Wait, he has just 2 regular feet, right?
Yeah, he has the 2 legs, the 2 arms, and the tail.
You know what? I'm gonna bite his tummy. Just really get in there.
Going for the tum-tum. All right.
Yeah!
So roll me a fighting check for the saber-toothed tiger dinosaur.
Okay. And give him mouth, like, snuggles with my teeth. 96, which I assume is a red in whatever it is.
Oh man, Godzilla don't like getting bit in the tum-tum.
Wait, can I also do, like, a big raspberry before I bite, like a... and then... Arr!
Wait, so the saber-toothed tiger zord is doing a raspberry?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that's sure.
Does that require lips?
I mean, when you get a red, you get to blow raspberries before you bite them.
That's right, yeah.
That's true. Trini never pushed that button. She never figured out what it did. But now she knows. Yeah. So you take a big old bite out of Godzilla's tum-tum. Mordin, you are up.
Alright, is there some sort of way I can, like, fly around it and, like, zap it and try to distract it? I imagine I'm the most evasive, and I kind of want to just, like, goad it into shooting breath weapon at me instead of other people while I zap it with lasers.
Yeah, so I'll say that's an evasion action, but you're going to be using your agility instead of your fighting. What I'm going to say is make a psyche check to kind of goad him into fighting you, and then if he does attack, then you get to roll on evasion to avoid it.
Cool. I'll spend karma on this. I want to do this. So. Oh, I got a 9. What do I need to get?
It depends on what his psyche is. Basically, if his psyche is less than yours, you need to get a green. If it's equal to yours, you need a yellow, and if it's greater than yours, you need a red.
Jeez. I guess I'll just do it a red because it's Godzilla, and he's just such a wild card.
The red will do it. Godzilla, despite having gotten this kitty cat jumping all over him, is much more annoyed at the tiny bird flying around his head. Alright, so you are drawing his aggro, and Dante, in the Tyrannosaurus, it is your turn.
Can I shoot my eye beams into Godzilla's eyes?
Yes, if you get a yellow result, you will hit him right in the eyes.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that Dante has already removed his shirt.
Oh,
Like he's just wearing the Red Ranger pants.
And the helmet.
And the helmet, yes.
yeah. Little arms. Let's go. Karma. I didn't need karma. I got a 92.
Yeah, you hit Godzilla in the eyes. And Godzilla is momentarily blinded.
So sweet.
Okay, Stitch.
Can Stitch put his little hands on his console and let his symbiote sort of run into this Zord
And then what?
to enhance his power cables that he's about to shoot out? Symbiote power cable.
I kind of want to let you cover the Triceratops in your symbiote.
Do it. There's 2 black Zords now.
Make a psyche check to see if you can do that. If you can control the symbiote spread out over such a giant area.
It's too cool not to do.
I see a blue Zord, and I want to take it.
Yeah, let's take it to green.
Okay, your symbiote has spread over the Triceratops Zord, and you can use your cables at a bonus if you wish.
Yellow! Oh god, I feel so bad. I'm sorry, Godzilla.
I'm just imagining the Triceratops with like the big old venom mouth and the long tongue, and it's very disturbing.
Yes. I'm sorry, Godzilla, but it's so cool.
So, yeah, these two like long, thick strands of webbing shoot out of the top of the Triceratops and wrap around Godzilla. Yeah, Godzilla is now blinded and restrained.
Giggity!
And he's still attempting to hit the pterodactyl, who is flying around his head annoyingly. Is going to do so by lashing out with his tail. That is barely a hit, given that he's blinded. Mordin, you can make an agility check on the evasion table to see if you can get out of the way.
Yellow.
Excellent. Yeah, you basically like pull the pterodactyl into an aileron roll and fly underneath. Dan. And fly underneath its tail.
Shut up.
Dan, can you describe what's going on here in terms of pitch and yaw?
Yeah. How is the pterodactyl in terms of yaw? How does it stack up?
Well, it's no Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
But it's better than the Serenity. So.
Yeah.
Archer, in the Mastodon, it is your turn. Godzilla is blinded and restrained and lashing out in kind of a rage right now.
Alright, cool. Well, this seems like a really great time to just, like, charge and run into the thing with a big Mastodon-shaped robot. So, that's what I'm gonna do.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
So that's a charge attack, so you're rolling on Endurance.
So what?
You know what? Actually, because he's restrained, I should have given you a +2 on that attack. Would that have hit?
Yes! It would be. That would make it barely a green.
Okay, so that's the end of the round. We're moving into the second round now. You guys have been hitting Godzilla pretty consistently. It looks like he has plenty left in the tank. Do you want to remain as separate Zords for now, or do you want to combine together into the Megazord?
Forgot what the Megazord does.
It's got a really big sword that kills everything all the time.
Oh, Dante's in!
The part of me that's really into the rule of 3 is like wanting to do one more round, but we can do whatever you guys want to do.
We can hold out.
Okay. Then we will bring it to the start of the next round with Luna in the Saber-Tooth Tiger.
I don't really know what a tail cannon does, but I'm willing to find out.
Yeah, so your Saber-Tooth Tiger tail sort of like arches over your back like a scorpion and fires off a laser. So I'm going to need you to roll the Saber-Tooth Tiger's agility to hit.
Well, hopefully this works out. Another 96.
Damn!
Why are you not this good to me the rest of the time?
Yeah, you nail Godzilla with another powerful hit, and it is Mordin's turn.
I think I'm gonna keep doing what I've been doing. Yeah, I'm gonna keep like sort of like strafing him with lasers in little bits just to kind of annoy him, but more just trying to, you know, attract his attention, stuff like that. So
I gotcha. Roll that psyche.
All right. Got a white.
Okay. Godzilla is ignoring you now.
Yep.
He sees your ploy for what it is. Dante, in the T-Rex.
Little arms. I want to shoot him in the eyes again.
So I picture Dante's just laughing, hitting the eye laser button because he thinks it's funny. It's like, oh, that's cool.
Oh shit, I forgot to say earlier when I was charging, like, I can't really imitate H. John Benjamin's, like, mad archer laugh, but that's totally what I was doing the whole time.
I can hear it clear as day in my head right now.
Green.
Okay, you don't hit him in the eyes, but you do hit him. I'll say, like, in the neck. Stitch.
Would the tail cannon, if aimed at the ground behind me, be able to propel my Zord into the air and at Godzilla's face?
Well, of course it would.
Why is everyone laughing?
I want to point out, I think it's really enjoyable that Stitch found out a way to throw a Zord while sitting in the Zord piloting it.
Yeah, Stitch found out how to throw a dinosaur while being the dinosaur.
I can throw and ride at the same time.
So Stitch, I'm going to need you to make an endurance check at -1 column shift, but if you hit, it will deal +1 column shift damage.
An endurance check?
Yes, because this is technically a charge attack.
Well, I'm going to use this karma. It's a karma day.
All right.
Okay. A fucking red.
There you go. You almost knock Godzilla over with that hit. Like, it is a powerful missile-like hit that you do to this guy. That visibly staggers him. Like, it's looking like he's suddenly realizing you guys are serious business. And it is his turn, and he doesn't like the fact that this Triceratops just hit him. You land what you think is a good distance away. Godzilla turns and looks at you. He's broken out of the webbing and is no longer blinded by now. And he
For the first time ever, Stitch almost feels fear.
Well, Godzilla leans back and seems to launch himself in a flying dropkick.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh, game over! Game over!
Godzilla slams into the Triceratops Zord. We get a cut to the cockpit as Stitch is flailing around and sparks are flying everywhere. Stitch, the Triceratops Zord, takes 50 damage.
Oh shit! I'm gonna say it's from inside the cockpit. You see Stitch pull through like one little arm at a time. He pulls himself back up onto the chair, and he's like,
Game, recognized game.
Archer, it is your turn.
I'm gonna use the freezing blast from the trunk of the mastodon. I will spend karma. I'll spend 12 karma to get that to red.
And you nail Godzilla with it. Godzilla pauses in his assault on the Triceratops as he is momentarily frozen by ice that has formed over him.
Yeah.
All right, Godzilla is frozen and is beginning to look somewhat weakened, and we are back to the start of a new round. Would you guys like to form the Megazord or continue to fight by yourselves?
I think now might be the time.
No.
Yeah.
I only have 26
Yeah.
HP left on this bot. If we don't do it now, I'm gonna fight him barehanded.
Yeah,
All right,
let's do
so
it now.
the Tyrannosaurus Zord's legs sort of fold up, and the Triceratops and Saber-toothed Tiger reconfigure themselves and attach as the T-Rex's new legs. The Mastodon Zord seems to unfold and sort of wrap around the back of the Tyrannosaurus Zord and becomes its arms. And then the Pterodactyl Zord comes flying down from above and attaches to the front of the Tyrannosaurus, becoming the chest, as the Tyrannosaurus's head sort of folds down, revealing a new Knight/Voltron ripoff face underneath.
Fuck yeah! I'm the
Take
head.
that back.
I have no idea how I'm surviving these G-forces, you guys, but did you see how, like, it made me the arms? Like, I am the biceps of this thing.
The five of you are now sitting in the same control room in the Megazord's head, and all of you realize now that Dante is back to being shirtless in his Power Rangers outfit.
Damn it, Dante.
You guys are now the Megazord. Basically, at this point, as we all know, the one thing the Megazord does to finish off a damaged monster is calling down the Power Sword and swinging hard.
Goddamn
So,
right.
I'm going to need the blue, yellow, black, and pink Rangers to make either a fighting, agility, or reason check. And if you have the vehicles talent, you may add that to your roll.
Can Dante quickly go outside and duct tape Frostmourne to the sword?
I got a yellow.
I literally rolled a 1.
Yeah, I got a white.
Okay.
I got a white.
Oh, we're so good. What did I tell you? We're so good at working together.
All right, so Red Ranger. The Megazord raises up its hand and grabs the Power Sword as it descends from roiling storm clouds above. You are responsible for swinging the sword. So,
Oh my god, yes!
you are going to have to make a fighting check. You get a bonus for either close combat swords or vehicles. You can only get one bonus, not both. Now, you are rolling at a base penalty of -5 column shifts. However, because of the rolls that your companions did, you get a +2 to that. So now you are only rolling on a -3.
You're welcome, Dante.
Yep, that was all the Mastodon, because the legs are going in totally different directions. The Pterodactyl still hasn't totally attached. Things are
okay,
a mess.
Stitch just wants to throw, and he's a leg. This is stupid.
Also, the symbiote is trying to infiltrate the Megazord.
Is there anything we can do to like help? This isn't like a
That,
D&D
that
thing
was
where
our
we can
moment
like help.
to try to help,
No!
and we did it.
Karma.
What if we're just really loving?
Aim with your heart, goddamn you.
Holy fucking shit! Good thing I used karma.
Can we just like quickly like have the camera cut back over to Doc and Buffy and Sombra watching on a little Sombra screen this whole incident and they're all just sort of shaking their heads slowly? Why do we even let them go outside?
The Power Rangers are looking up and they're like, we've made a huge mistake.
I mean, look, all it really comes down to is the fact that we're gonna kill this thing while doing the splits. So, you know.
All right, what are we looking at for that roll, Dante?
I took it to a red.
All right, the Megazord, while kind of like spinning around in a circle, lashes out with the Power Sword and lets loose a giant curving arc of lightning. It streaks down the street and impacts Godzilla full on. The gigantic kaiju topples over, sprawled out across multiple blocks of demolished Nexus City buildings. You guys are celebrating somewhat nauseously in the control center of the Megazord when you see Godzilla's eyes shoot back open, glowing with an intense green light.
No!
Emerald lines of magical light begin to radiate out of him in pulses, surrounding and consuming him before he pulls them into himself, growing and swelling as he does so.
Oh no!
Godzilla has been transformed. He now stands half again as tall as he was before. His reptilian body seems to have melted away, replaced with a metallic, skeletal version of itself. His shoulders are covered with a wide, flat bone plate, and his head is now a grinning dinosaur skull and glares out with glowing green eye sockets. He begins to open his mouth, and you can see a green glow is building up inside of his ribcage and moving towards his mouth.
Hey, Dan, is this Phyrexia Godzilla?
Oh, that's very good.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Mordin's gonna, like, press a little button. Hey, Doc. How's it coming down there?
This blast of green-white energy fires from Godzilla's mouth. The shockwaves coming out off of it are such that the buildings around it that are not directly hit collapse. The ground beneath it splits open, and the Megazord takes the hit full on in the chest and basically is blown into pieces.
We all get cancer instantly.
All of you fall in this kind of like weird slow motion from the sky and land on the ground.
Sad anime scene. Oh.
We take turns falling in slow motion.
That's
Get it
right.
right.
Yes,
In our
yes.
discussion.
But the Red Ranger always has to fall by himself.
By himself at the end, the slowest and most dramatically.
Dante's like completely naked all this time.
Except for the Red Ranger helmet.
So you all end up on the ground, and as you do so, your ranger outfits sort of flicker and disappear from you. It's at this point that, Mordin, your Omni tool flickers to life, except it's now bright pink as opposed to the usual orange. And you hear Doc Brown's voice say, it's ready to go. It's going to unleash any minute. You should get to an extraction point now.
Mordin checks to see if he still has the DDC, or if did Stitch like eat it or something, or
I mean, that's up to Stitch.
I think we know what the answer is.
Yeah, I mean,
It was safer in here.
he like spits that one out. Also, he spits up the gem just to show he still has the gem, and then eats it again.
All right.
Gonna grab Mordin's Omni tool and just kind of shout into it. Has Venusaur already gotten to safety?
Doc Brown says, yes, many of the Nexus City Tournament fighters have already fled. You just need to get out of here now.
Okay, all right, we can go then.
As this is happening, Stitch, you see that Lace comes running up and sort of like nuzzles you with her snout.
Aww.
That's so cute.
Oh my gosh, is Cambot with us?
Yeah, sure, Cambot's with you guys.
Okay, good. All right.
I'm pretty sure Cambot's being held in Lace's mouth.
and all form the pimple.
Aww.
Is there an extraction point nearby?
Yes, checking the DDC, you can see that there's one just a few blocks away. You'll basically just have to stay ahead of Godzilla in order to make it.
Cool. Yeah, we'll start
Oh, no.
sprinting that way.
I've got my broom still. Can I like just make that faster? Maybe.
I mean, you can fly yourself faster. It can really only carry maybe 2 people on your broomstick.
All right. Nope. I'm running with everybody else then.
Solidarity. As all of you are racing down the sidewalk, dodging and leaping over debris as you make your way for the alley with the extraction point, there's suddenly a droning, buzzing sound that escalates into a low roar. Emerging from the broken windows of a nearby building are a swarm of tiny creatures. They look like scorpions with bat wings, with horrifyingly skull-like faces. The plague stingers immediately begin to swarm in your direction. What do you all do?
Grenade.
Run!
Area incinerate?
So, Archer, why don't you make an agility check for me, and Mordin, you can roll your incinerate.
I have a wind damage to a target. I'm gonna blow these guys away.
Okay, roll your psyche.
I got a yellow.
Green.
I'm gonna spend karma. I got 35 left. Let's see how we do. This seems important
Okay.
that we don't get turned into Phyrexians.
Yes.
Just 10 is alright to get to green, so yeah.
So, Archer hucks a grenade which explodes in the midst of them. Mordin continues to pile on the firepower with his incinerate.
Mordin's fire is purplish pink.
Very good. And Luna gestures with her wand and summons a gust of wind that blows the few remainders either back or into the fire. By the end of it, you guys are all looking around frantically, making sure that you got every last one of them. And then you all hear the sound of this wet impact. You all turn, and you see Lace, a puzzled expression on her face, looking down at her side, where she's been stung by a plague stinger.
Oh! What?
Already you can see a dark web is beginning to spread through her veins from the point of impact.
Where did it hit her?
Right in the side.
That's tough to amputate.
Like just below her tail, basically.
Shit.
Can Stitch try to immediately start trying to, like, just suck it out?
If you want.
It's gonna infect you too.
He's gonna dive onto her and try to do the very, not a good idea venom thing. With venom, hey.
Actually have the character live up to his damn name for once.
Mordin might try to throw himself between the two of them, honestly.
Yeah, I think Luna's gonna stop him.
Mordin says, we can put him in stasis until we can figure out a cure.
Can Stitch use the Venom symbiote, which I imagine, by the way, is pretty riled up and upset because it just got hit with a lot of Godzilla fire?
Yes.
Can he kind of shoot it out from himself and just dig that Venom symbiote into, like, Lace's wound and try to have the symbiote wrap around the infection?
Here's what I will say. You can make an agility check, and Mordin and Luna will both get agility checks to see if they can stop you.
Right. So, like, Stitch, this is what I'm imagining. Stitch jumps at the, like, to attempt to, like, get it out of Lace himself. They sort of get in his way, and so Stitch is, like, trying to snake the Venom symbiote around.
Yep.
Okay.
So the three of you make agility checks.
Nope, got a white.
Nope. White.
Green.
Stitch, you manage to plunge the Venom symbiote's tendrils into the wound point, and you basically, like, do everything you can to pull as much of the infection into the symbiote as possible. Mm-hmm. The black veins that were beginning to spread through Lace stop spreading. There's still, like, a visible black mark on her side, but it doesn't appear to be moving anymore. Lace has been looking panicked and scared, but then just sort of passes out, just sprawling out on the sidewalk. Stitch, you are beginning to feel a strange sensation creeping over you and your extremities.
Stitch now wants to just, like, expel the symbiote from him.
Okay.
He's basically, like, using the symbiote as a box and then throwing the box away.
Make a psyche check.
All right.
Use karma.
I have 19 left. Here we go. I am short 1 karma
Oh, shit.
to make this a green.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
So yeah, I basically fail even by spending karma.
So basically, Stitch, you're trying to focus, but, like, the symbiote is refusing your mental commands at this point. You're trying to, like, physically pull it off of yourself, but it's, like, clinging to you with its tendrils and, like, trying to whip out additional ones to pull itself back on you.
Can Mordin take Marlene off of Stitch?
Lace was carrying Marlene.
Okay.
And Lace is passed out.
Okay,
so
cool.
Yes.
So Mordin's gonna pick up Marlene and say, "Can anyone operate this?"
I mean, Mordin, buddy, I'm Sterling Archer.
Mordin throws it to Archer and says that it hates sound.
Oh, well, it's gonna love this. What do I roll then?
This would be a psyche or agility check.
That's a green.
So you let loose with a blast of sound, and the symbiote suddenly lets loose this weird shriek. Teeth just seem to be sprouting up from random parts all over it, as it suddenly, like, retracts into one ball, which Stitch just gathers together and throws.
Right. Stitch is not looking so great either. He also has, like, she has shift 0 against sonic attacks.
Yeah.
He's, like, just holding his ears tightly against his head and writhing.
Yeah. So, you guys have an unconscious Velociraptor, and the symbiote is lying in a puddle off down the street, writhing around still, and the extraction point is down the alleyway. What do you do?
Mordin, help me with Lace.
Mordin's kind of looking at the symbiote for science purposes, like, I don't want to leave this here.
Mordin!
No, I'll get it.
away.
I'll get it.
Can I say,
Okay.
Luna, don't touch it.
I'm not gonna touch it. I saw what it did. It was very spooky.
Leave it there.
I don't
think we should take it back.
I don't think we should
Leave
bring it back, honestly.
Oh, well then I'm not gonna cast anything. All right, I'll help you carry Lace. Let me grab the tail.
All of you, except for the two with super strength, I will point out with great delight, pick up various parts of Lace and sort of haul her unconscious body down the alleyway. All of you gather at the extraction point, Mordin hits in the appropriate commands into the DDC. It pops open, the field expands around you, and you all vanish from Nexus City. Moments later, there are a series of spectacular explosions as Shang Tsung's vast interplanar network detonates, and Nexus City flies into its component planes, leaving Phyrexia bereft of its latest meal. And that is game. Extraordinary League is produced by Dan Mulkerin, with logo design by Claire Mulkerin.
Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com for our theme song, Motherload, and to TabletopAudio.com for our background music and ambient sound effects.
You can find us on Twitter at SmashFic Podcast and search for the Smash Fiction Podcast on Facebook, Tumblr, and YouTube.
Subscribe on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice, and if you leave us a good review, we shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Smash Fiction is made possible thanks to our supporters on Patreon at patreon.com/smashfictionpodcast. Please consider donating as little as $1 each month. It helps us keep the show going, and we have great rewards and extra content for those who help us out.
If you have any suggestions, feedback, or other contributions, send them to us at smashfictionpodcast@gmail.com and help us continue the fight.
Okay, Stitch.
Can Lace show up in the Dragon Zord?
No.
Yes, it's happening.
Tommy's not here.
How do
Oh
you
wow,
know?
look, it's Lace! In the Dragon
shit.
Zord.
But Lace can't say the name
mean-
of the thing.
The Dragon Zord is
You
green.
don't need to say it, you just need to play the flute.
Oh.
And she's already learned how to play instruments.
It's canon. It's canon. Okay,
She
fine.
plays the dragon bass instead of the flute.
Damn.
Do, 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 do.